Silence.
Mr. Chair, we're now live.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Due to the COVID-19 emergency declaration, this meeting of the General Government Committee is being held electronically and live streamed on the town's website. All members of council and town staff in attendance are participating by audio and video teleconference. For members of the public watching from home, please bear with us if we encounter any technical difficulties. I am now calling this meeting to order. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interests? There are no disclosures. We are now moving on to the adoption of minutes. And we have 3 sets of minutes, and I'm going to do them individually. We have the minutes of the 2021 Capital and Operating Budget Workshop of January 11, 2021. Are there any questions on these minutes? Questions? Seeing none, can I get a mover to approve these minutes?
Move it.
Moved by Regional Councillor Dice. All those in favor? I see all hands, none opposed. This carries. Thank you very much. Next, we have the minutes of the regular GGC meeting of January 18th, 2021. Are there any questions on these minutes? I see no hands. Can I then get a mover to approve these minutes?
Crawford.
Sorry, Regional Councillor Crawford. I saw Councillor Bauer's hands first.
No biggie.
Okay, but I can, okay, so it's moved by Councillor Bauer. All those in favor? I see all hands except the mayor's. Oh, there you go. Now I see all hands. Okay, none opposed. This carries. Thank you very much. And then third, we have the closed session minutes of the January 18th, 2021 meeting. Are there any questions on these minutes? I see no hands. Can I get a mover for these minutes, please? I see Councillor Tyler Morin. Okay, all those in favor? I see all hands except Councillor. There you go. This carries. None opposed? I guess none opposed, right? Because all hands, and that motion carries. Thank you very, very much. Now we're going to be moving on to the consent agenda. The following item has been pulled. It is 4.1, Diversity and Inclusion Update. That was prepared by Natasha Sharma, the Diversity and Inclusion Coordinator. It was first pulled by Regional Councillor Crawford, and then it was pulled after by Councillor Bauer. Regional Councillor Crawford?
I'm happy to move the remainder if you want.
But yes, sorry, you need to move on the balance of the consent agenda. That's what I needed.
I'm happy to move it.
Okay, so I saw the mayor's hand. I'm sorry.
Of course.
Moved by Mayor Collier. All those in favor? This carries. Thank you so much. And again, we'll move on to the diversity and inclusion update. Does Ms. Sharma want the floor, or are you going to ask your question first, Regional Councillor Crawford?
I think I go first.
I think you do go first. Please proceed. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I was watching the Durham Regional Police Service Board meeting this morning, and I watched the task force do their presentation. I just wanted to say that I thought they did an amazing job. So I'm really hoping that you'll pass on my congratulations to them and my thanks that they actually took the time to do it. I know they have to get up pretty early for that police board meeting, so even though we don't have to go anywhere. But one of the things that did come out of that meeting was, I believe it was Trustee Barnes had mentioned after the Black Rose of Durham's presentation, she had talked about how she was hoping that the 2 presenters would be able to advise the police board or the police, I guess DRPS, on how to get many of the programs that they have already in place out to the general public or the Black community or whatever. And I was hoping, I'm not sure if Mariska or Dane were on the call after they presented or not. And I was just hoping that they would be able to give feedback. I don't know if it's maybe through their Facebook, maybe their website. I'm not sure how many people they have, but I thought it was a good opportunity that police are doing some of the things they were asking about. And it would be good to be able to educate not only the Black community, but the community at whole. So that was my comment.
Through the chair to Councillor Crawford, just to respond, I did get in contact with Mariska and Dane, and they both were on the call at that time. And we had discussed that there's a huge possibility that we can push forward those communications to the public through their Facebook page and also the town's IMO page as well. So I'll work with our communications team to get that up.
I also had noted that they had the police, the chief was mentioning that they had not had a huge uptake on comments on their accountability and transparency review that was going on. I'm not sure if our task force actually had an opportunity to give any feedback on that.
At the time, I don't think that we were able to give feedback on that. Sorry, through the chair.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know you work very closely with them to get the presentation together. So thank you. I just want you to know that it was well done. I thought it was very well done.
Through the chair, thank you, Councillor Crawford.
Thank you. I just noticed an email from Regional Councillor Lee that he wanted to be put on the speakers list. So since I have Councillor Bauer, then I did have the mayor's hand. Regional Councillor Lee, you'll be after the mayor if that's okay. Councillor Bauer, the floor is now yours.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Sharma. I loved the report. It was very interesting. I actually would have loved to have seen this as a presentation versus a report, just because I think it's very important and timely for sure. And I think there's some great initiatives so far, and I expect and hope that there will be more to see. So I had a few questions. The listening tour that you conducted, in general terms, who participated in this? How many employees, and sort of what was that all about?
Through the chair to Councillor Bauer, just before I respond to your question, I would just like to begin, if you could indulge me for a few minutes as I comment on the internal Black History Month activity.
Sure.
Thank you. I would just like to thank the mayor for your leadership and for your public statement on behalf of the corporation. Internally, we did miss the mark, and I have a great diversity and inclusion committee, and we have been and continue to debrief together on this. There has been a large community that has been very supportive in terms of how we grow and how we will move forward. Although we had the best intentions as a committee with the creation and promotion and the promotion of the activity, it is more important to me that we build trust and understanding as an organization. So just moving forward, I emphasize the importance of transparency as we continue to advance diversity and inclusion together.
Thank you for that.
So now, through the chair, responding to your question, Councillor Bauer, about the listening tour. The members that consisted of the listening tour were some stakeholders and employees who participated. The staff members vary from different levels, and I believe it was about 20 to 25 staff members that reached out to me over the period of time.
Great. And is this a one-time initiative, or will there be ongoing opportunities for this exercise?
Through the chair, this is not a one-time initiative. I would like to develop an open door policy with staff and create a safe space for everyone. And it's one of my internal goals to create some type of system where staff members can reach out to me either anonymously or openly to discuss any personal or any corporate matters. So I would like to include coordinating times with them to be able to discuss. I mean, my internal listening tour was done through via Zoom at home. Some staff members felt it was important that I would be at home so they would feel more safe to openly speak to me. So I do want this to push forward as an ongoing initiative.
That's great. Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned building a sense of trust, because I did notice in the report, the results of that tour, there were 5 categories of concern, and 2 of them related to trust and a lack of trust. And I think that's very concerning. So I'm glad to hear that you have acknowledged that. The page 13 and 14, when you talked about the internal and external observations and information. So I had two questions about that. The first one is item number 6, the internal diversity and inclusion census. What is that, and what is the purpose of that?
Through the chair, the workforce census is a demographic survey of all staff that will give the town a better understanding of the makeup of our workforce. The results of the census will help the town to better understand who its employees are and identify gaps in representation. Not only that, but it'll also help pull information that will support the development of programs, resources, and support to build a more inclusive, welcoming, and supportive environment for all employees.
Great, thank you. And the other item was item number 9, the voluntary use of gender pronouns. So could you please explain to us what that is all about, why it's important, and how was this broadcast to all employees? Sort of what's been the reception of that? And I know it's voluntary, but do you have any gauge of who has opted in and at what leadership level?
Through the chair, pronouns are one of the ways we portray our self-identities. So when someone asks us to use their pronouns, they're asking us to respect their identity. We can't always know what someone's pronouns are just by looking at them, and asking and correctly using someone's pronouns or identifying it in email signatures is one of the most important ways to show our respect to their gender identity. It hasn't yet been implemented within the corporation. This is the purpose of the Diversity and Inclusion Update Report, is to ensure that council is aware of my observations over the past few months that I've been with the town, and the internal and external steps that I would like to carry forward to guide diversity and inclusion. So I'll be working on an implementation plan. But with regards to voluntary, I would hope that I do see staff members that are on board with it. And of course, this is something that was discussed or brought up through my listening tour as well. So I would hope that senior staff and all staff are able to participate if they feel necessary.
Right. I think that would be a great step in building that trust, for sure, as a leadership position. Those are my questions and comments. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you. Next in line is the mayor. Mayor Collier, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Ms. Sharma, and thank you very much for addressing the Black History Month internal events. I think it's important that we talk about that and make sure we are addressing it. I just want to confirm that going forward, we have our Ajax Anti-Black Racism Task Force, that any future events, we want to make sure that we bring them into the loop and run everything by them and get their input. Is that the policy going forward?
Through the chair to Mayor Collier, absolutely. I think that not only will I be leaning on the internal D&I committee, but for sure with anything with regard to the Black community, I will be leaning on the task force for that.
Excellent. Thank you very much and appreciate the report. Thank you, Chair.
You are welcome, Mr. Mayor. Regional Councillor Lee, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Ms. Sharma, for the report. First things first, I do want to echo your statements in regards to the mayor taking ownership of the survey, whatever you want to call it. It was absolutely inappropriate and not representative of what the town was. And I want to thank Ms. Sharma for personally calling members of council just to explain the rationale behind it. I don't believe there's any bad intent behind it, but ultimately, I think we all understand why it had to be pulled. I guess I want to point out just point number 2, the optics. Internally, staff feel neglected and underappreciated, which unfortunately created a lack of trust. So going back to that point as a whole, can you go back to the time you were hired and the hiring committee that hired you? Were there any racialized individuals on that committee?
The hiring committee that hired me?
Correct. The people who interviewed you.
Through the chair. No, there wasn't.
Thank you. I assumed as much. And so I guess my broader point is something I didn't see in your report, was in a sense the lack. Sorry, I have serious concerns regarding the hiring practices of our town, since especially when it comes to our senior management team. I love our senior management team. We've all gotten along, but I have absolutely noticed we've had a large turnover in our senior management team. And since I've been on council, I think we've seen almost 10 to 12 senior managers, and I think only one of them was racialized. And I guess like I'm asking you then, from your experience, is this something that requires changes at our HR level, or what can we do to address that?
Through the chair to Councillor Lee. Actually, now that I think about it, there was one person on the hiring team that was from a minority community. Just to clarify that, I do believe that through the census information, my report is solely on what I want to push forward internally and externally. And I believe that through the census information, that's where I want to go with it, is to eventually collaborate with HR and look towards our hiring practices and identifying those gaps in our demographics.
I personally, and this is not a direction, this is just an observation, and I hope you take it to heart, is that I ultimately hope that we go beyond that and faster. You know, we've seen the most racialized council in Durham region history, I believe, this term, and that's just a small part of what the electorate can do. But there are absolutely things the town can do, and I see that we have an internship program through the AABR. Great, but what about some sort of mentoring program that, in a sense, shores up our bench, so to speak, for managers to become senior managers, managers to become directors, and promoted within our racialized staff members? Because I see a lot of entry level positions where we are racialized, but the higher up we go, those numbers seem to dwindle. And I absolutely have concerns about that, because at the end of the day, time and time again, our town, we pride ourselves on the diversity of town. Again, I've said ad nauseum, we tout the fact that we're 56% racialized. And I'm not saying we need to institute some quota-based system where an X percentage needs to be a racialized senior manager. But right now, what I'm saying is that that percentage has to be higher than 0%, which is where we are close to, if not at right now. So I would definitely think this is a great way to really further diversity and inclusion within the town, because I don't want to constantly be told of, oh, the most qualified person was this person. Well, unless we shore up the system, we actually fix this, we adjust the system, then it's always going to be, in a sense, favored towards specific demographics. And that's my concern for this town. So I hope you can just take that feedback to heart. I don't think it requires action of council. I appreciate everything you've done, but I honestly think we need faster change on certain metrics within this town. So those are my comments. Thank you, Chair.
You are welcome. Ms. Sharma, did you want to comment, or can I just move on to the next speaker?
Through the chair, I just wanted to say thank you to council for all of your feedback, and thank you, Councillor Lee, for your feedback as well.
Okay, so don't go anywhere. Got lots more for you. Regional Councillor Dies, you're next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just a comment, Ms. Sharma, I just wanted to thank you. I thought the listening tour was a great idea, and it provided a lot of information for you to move forward on. I think it's a good thing that we always recognize room for improvement. Nothing is perfect, it's fluid all the time. And I'm very proud of the fact that we do find areas that we need to improve on a constant basis. So congratulations on that. And I guess just a quick question I just thought of, we're talking a lot about diversity and inclusion, but part of this inclusion is also about people with disabilities. Was that brought up or discussed within this listening tour?
Yes, through the chair, sorry, yes, that was discussed. In my portfolio, there's of course race, and I think race is predominantly something that's being focused on from 2020 to this year, but my portfolio includes accessibility as well.
Well, I'm pleased to hear that, because there are a lot of people that can be employed, whatever the disability, and I think we really have to move forward with that as well. I think it's very, very important. So I'm pleased to hear that. But you've done a great job, and congratulations in the few months you've been here. Thank you.
Through the chair, just to further comment on what you've said, I also have Sarah Moore, the accessibility coordinator, who is on my diversity committee as well. And with her and collaborating with the rest of the committee, I think that we can push forward different initiatives in different parts of the corporation. Thank you.
Thank you. Well answered. Next in line is Councillor Tyler Moran.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Through you, the chair, to Ms. Sharma, I just wanted to say, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad your position's here. I think it's so important at this time that we have this. I'm proud of the fact that we have this. It's not perfect, and it won't be perfect, but I think this report is great, but we don't have to look at it just today, right? We have to look at it tomorrow and the day after, and we need to improve on it. Not necessarily improve on the report, but improve on our actions. And thank you last week for the phone call. I really appreciated it, and your actions. And that goes through to the mayor. As I agree with my council. I was speaking last, so I agree with what everybody's already said. Sterling Lee said about the mayor. So yeah, I just wanted to say that's kind of a broad stroke here, but just reading through the report again, and I'll read through it again tomorrow. So thank you. Let's just keep moving and getting better and better. Thank you.
You're welcome. And we're gonna come full circle back to the mayor right now. Mayor Collier, floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to follow up and thanks everybody for your input. I think it's all very valuable. Just to Councillor Lee's comments on the hiring practices, I think that's a complete other subject that we should look into at another time with our HR. If we have an interest in the hiring practices and maybe we have to work with what we get. So if we don't get a big broad base applying, I don't want to be criticized for hiring certain people, but maybe there's ways that we can look at broadening the way that the notices are distributed. I know we're looking at things like blind resumes and other types of things. So maybe that's something that we can give some direction to HR to report back on some of the ways that we are looking at our hiring practices going forward to help address some of the things that Councillor Lee brought up. But I didn't think that was fair to ask Natasha that, because I think this is more of an HR question. So I say, if we want to do that, why don't we give that direction, and we'll have that discussion.
Thank you. Before I wrap up, Ms. Sharma, do you have any closing comments? Because I want to say something before, but I want to give the opportunity if there's anything you need to say. No?
Yeah, no, through the chair now.
So that was an excellent discussion. I really enjoyed that, and I did read your report twice, and there was so much to learn. And I must say, Loki, I'm really happy. I'm really happy you are in this position. I know your roots you're from a nation of 7 races, and we're really proud to have you here. Me personally, it's such a treacherous slope that you're on, because I chaired the diversity committee at the Ajax Pickering Board of Trade with the support of like Don Terry and Kathy Mackay. And man, there was a lot of sleepless nights behind it. There's really thankless job. And it takes a lot of courage. And I thank you for standing up and those calls. And I think I can say on behalf of my colleagues, you need anything, you reach out to us, whatever we can do to help. I'm sure we can support you. And we really appreciate you taking on this challenge. And I know your family is proud of you to be here right now too. So shout out to Pops and Moms. So anyways, thank you very much. And thank you for doing this. The report is excellent. And like Councillor Tyler Moran said, we will reread it, because there's a lot of good information. You've done a tremendous amount of work within the you were there. Okay. Is there an echo? Okay.
Through the chair to council, I just want to thank everyone. I mean, I appreciate council's support on everything, and I'm looking forward to continuing the portfolio with the DNI at Town of Ajax. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sharma. Thank you. Okay, that was an excellent discussion. Thank you, everyone.
Chair, I'll move to receive that.
Okay, very well. So that was to ratify the direction approved. No, it wasn't actually. It was a mover to the, no, where am I? Where did I go? Where did I go? I gotta get my notes back in order. But yes, that was moved by Councillor Bauer. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, wonderful. We shall move on. That carries. And now we're going to, where did I go? Where did I go exactly? Right, that was to adopt the recommendation in the report. That's what I was looking for. And that's what you took on that for. All right, so thank you again. We will now move into the closed session part of our GGC meeting. Can I get a mover to move into the closed session? Regional Councillor Lee, I saw your hand. All those in favor to move into a closed session, I see all hands. There's none opposed. That motion carries. Mr. Clerk?
All right, Mr. Chair, we are live again.
Thank you very much. Mayor Collier has required a motion to ratify the direction approved in the closed session. So all those in favor of that? Any opposed? Okay, that carries. And finally, thank you for a great meeting. I'd like a mover to adjourn this meeting. Moved by Councillor Bauer. All those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed. This motion carries.